Can Ford valves fix my Chevy heads? Let's find out. Alright, so in case you didn't see my last video, I bought more eBay heads. And it turns out they have the same problem as the OG set. The exhaust seats were not machined correctly. Now, I've already decided to return all 4 of those new heads for a full refund. But before I do that, there's one thing I want to try to see if I can fix those. Well, not really a fix, it's more of a band-aid. You see, last time I checked, your standard 1.6 valve, which was, I guess, too big, and then I checked a 1.5 valve, which was too small. Nope, not a 1.5, it's right there. It's only touching on the bottom barely, whereas the 1.6 is just barely touching on the top. So, from one end of the spectrum to the other. And hopefully, these Ford 1.55 valves are Goldilocks. Anyways, let me set up here real quick, and we'll check one of them and see if I'm right. Pull one out here real quick to show you. One thing I like about the Ferrea valves packaging, is it Ferrea or Ferrara? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I never get these names right. I like the packaging. I like that they use foam instead of the cardboard, like Manly. The valves just seem a little better packaged. I never had any Ferrara valves before, so these are my first. Figures that they're Ford valves. Anyways, I'm rambling. Let's get to checking. Oh, and before we get started, let's go over the full specs of these valves. You can see right here, as I said, they're 1.55 valves. Same stem as you see in a small block Chevy, even though they are Ford valves for 351 Windsor or GT40. GT40 heads like they had on what was it, the Broncos or something, the trucks? Anyways, I'm not a Ford guy. They have, the same stem size, and they're a bit longer total length. So, I generally like to use a longer valve on some heads for a small block Chevy. These are a bit longer than 100 long, but I think they'll be fine. So, anyways, let's get to checking. Alright, I let the Sharpie dry on the valve just a little bit, so I'll paint it up nice, as you can see, all the way around. And I just want to say, the machining on these Ferrara valves looks really nice. They appear to be, good valves. I mean, of course, their reputation is good. I just, like I said, this is my first time having Ferrara valves. Ferrari, whatever. Anyways, we just want to put a dab of oil on that stem. Drop that sucker in. And we'll try this thing out. Fingers crossed. Here goes nothing, as they say. And I can feel it rubbing through the Sharpie. There we go. So we'll make sure I get a good pattern. I'll pull it out here in one sec. Ooh, there we go. You can see for yourself. A 1.55 valve is the trick, or the fix for these heads. That's cool. I'm glad, because that was a $100 gamble on my part for the Ferrara valves. I got them on eBay, but still, $100. Awesome. Well, that's cool. I'm glad I decided to try that out, because it only cost me $100, and I figured also, even if there's nothing wrong with what you buy on eBay, they still have a 30-day return policy. It's just I would have to pay the return shipping, which is not a big deal to try something out, I guess. I mean, I don't like to just do that, to some merchant, but I had a pretty good feeling that it was going to work, and it did. Again, you see right here for yourself. Too small, too large, and just right. You know, kind of wide, but you know, you want a wide contact patch for the exhaust seat, so that way it can transfer the heat. Now, I'm not sure how much the 1.5 valve will hurt flow. I am kind of curious to see, you know, what it would do compared to a 1.6, but the whole sending it out to, you know paying, send it, ship it to someone, and then paying them to check it, and it's just not. It's not enough of a concern for me to figure it out. I mean, I'll take a little bit of a hit on exhaust flow. It's not a big deal. The engine I want to use the OG heads on, which, by the way, I still gotta check the OG heads before I send these heads back, because I mean, I don't know. I'm still considering now. I might message the eBay merchant and see about working out something about one sec, because I can get another set of valves for roughly the same price. I mean, I think they're cheaper because Ford parts are way less common these days than small block Chevy. They weren't really super popular back in the day either. They always were kind of overpriced because they were less common. But now it's probably even more so. Anyways, let me dig out the OG head, and I'll check that before we wrap this up, just to confirm that I can do this and skip the machine shop. Which with my luck with machine shops, that's a plus. This is one of the OG heads. The other is over here, pretty much done. I figured it'd be easier to check on this head because it's not all taped up and dirty. There's the fourth head right there. 1, 2, 3, 4 of the pretty much, I guess, 4.0 and 5.0 sets, which I'm going to return. I'm going to use a fresh Ferrea valve so we can compare it to the Goldilocks valve. We'll see if there's an actual difference in the OG head and those. I mean, the one major difference in the OG heads is the surface finish is not quite as nice as on these newer heads. I mean, it's still good enough. I'm going to use like a graphite composite gasket, and it'll be fine. Now, I was wondering if maybe they just used, Ford, tooling for these seats. They got mixed up when they were machining them. Because I'm not sure if they machine them here or overseas, and I could see if it was overseas how they got mixed up, or if the tooling was just so wore it was a smaller size. I don't know. I guess we'll probably never know. Anyways, let me get a check on this head real quick, and we'll find out if I'm also good on the OG heads before I send all these heads back. The new valve is all sharpied up, should be dry. Again, just a drop of oil on the stem before we insert it into the guide. Not too much oil. Of course, right on the seat. Get that off there real quick. Drop that sucker in, and we will test it out. Spin, spin, spin. Oh, come on. These suction cups are not the greatest. Normally I will stick the suction cup on the back of my hand and the glove to clean it, but I'm not wearing a glove, as you can see. Okay, that should be good enough. Moment of truth. Let's see. Uh-oh. Try again. Well, it appears even their screw-ups aren't consistent. Okay, I know. I spoke too soon. I jinxed myself. As you can see, the OG head does not check the same as one of the new heads. So right here, valves side by side. No bueno. So, I guess I'm not sure what I'm going to do now. I mean, I'm going to probably have to sleep on it, but I think what I might do is go through those 4 new heads, find 2 good heads, and then return the other 2, keep 2, and I don't know. I mean, I guess I didn't really want to have these machined right now. I mean, that was kind of the I guess the saving grace of this hack, fix, band-aid, whatever you want to call it, is I wouldn't have to find a new machine shop because my, local machine shop closed. So I mean, it's just, I don't know. Get back to you in a few. It's the next day, and I decided to go ahead and check all the heads to see if I can find 2 good heads that'll work with the new valves. Well, not good, they're still machined incorrectly. But if I find 2 heads, then I'll contact the merchant and see if we can work out something, because technically they are machined incorrectly. So I went ahead and started with the first head that I mostly checked out last video. The head that I found the problem on with the seats. This head's already been checked for the deck, the threads, and so on. And I guess now it checks out, fully good. I mean, technically, like I said, it's still incorrectly machined, but these are the proper size valves for the incorrectly machined valve seats. I mean, it's good or good enough, I guess. I don't know. So I'll move on to another one of these heads, and I'll pick up the best one, and we'll go from there. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, I want to point out that the seats, the valves check on all the seats consistently. The wear pattern looks pretty much the same on every seat for the exhaust and the intake. Right where it should be, kind of center of the valve. I mean, still a little wide, but good enough. Also, I don't remember if I pointed this out in my last video, but I noticed 2 of these heads have these markings on the end, and 2 do not. And I also checked the other side. There's no markings on those ends. Just these 2 heads. So that's weird. Second head. All valve seats check out good. Well, for the wrong size valve on the exhaust seats. But they check good enough, I guess. Now, if you remember from my last video, after I found the problem with the exhaust valve seats, I only fully inspected the first head. I didn't bother doing anything else for the second, third, or fourth heads. So the very first thing I did with this head is check to make sure it's flat. And it is flat. And then I checked the valve seats, all of them, and they check out good and consistent, cylinder to cylinder. I moved on to checking the threads, and this is where I have an issue. The spark plugs on 2 cylinders don't quite go in all the way. You see over here, here's one that is pretty much flush. And these 2, this cylinder and this cylinder, they stop just about 2 or 3 threads shy. Now, I checked the machining on the back side for the I guess, plug pocket, whatever you want to call it, the spot face, and they seem machine consistent, so I think that it's just the threads weren't tapped quite deep enough, and I could probably get it with a thread chaser. We'll see. I think I'm going to move on to checking the third head, see if that has any issues before I try and fix this head. Third head. The deck is flat. All the spark plug threads check out good. Then I checked the seats, and they are also all good and consistent. So I don't know how you can make all the heads wrong consistently. They must have used the wrong tooling and machined the heads for the wrong size valve. That's the only thing that makes sense. Also, I checked all the other threads, and they are good. So this head is completely 100% good, or good enough. And so is the first head, so now we have 2 heads that are good. And I guess I could stop here, but I might as well check the fourth head. There's only one head left. Might as well check it, see if see if it's also consistent in the exhaust valve seats. At least check the exhaust valve seats. I might check the rest of it. We'll see. The first head, there are a few, I guess, deck imperfections. It's gonna be hard to see at this angle, but it's got a few marks I don't really like. It's got probably the not the worst, it's just the least good deck. So if the third head and the fourth head check out good, I may keep those heads and send the other 2 back. We'll see. fourth and last head. The deck is not so flat. Over here, I can get the 2 to slide under the flat edge, pretty good. 3 would just catch a little, so... I mean, there's also a few other spots in the deck that I'm not so hot about, and doesn't really... we don't need to worry about that. This head is going to go back. But I still went ahead and checked all the intake and exhaust seats. And again, they all check out good and consistent. I didn't bother marking them as I went because I'm going to send this head back. But like I said, they're nice and consistent. And I mean, it had to be the wrong tooling. I mean, they're not high on some or low on some. I mean, you don't just mess up consistently, I guess. I mean, it had to be the wrong tooling. So it looks like I'm going to keep 1 and 3, and I'll return 2 and 4. So I don't know what you call this set, because that was going to be 4.0 and 5.0. So I guess this is 4.5. Anyways, bad jokes aside. Now we gotta wait and see what the merchant says. I'm gonna message him, because of course they are not correct. So I'm gonna try and get a little bit of a discount. I mean, he offered me kind of a okay discount, but not so great for 4 bad heads. I'm gonna see what I can do about 2 bad heads, and we'll go from there. While we wait on the merchant, it occurred to me I probably should check the 1.5 valve in the OG head. We know the 1.6 and the 1.55 valve didn't work for the exhaust seats, but maybe the Engine Pro 1.5 will. I mean, it's worth checking, and while I'm waiting, not like I'm doing anything else better. So we'll see. Oh, and you saw my last video. I looked at the casting flash on the, the newer sets of heads, 4.0 and 5.0. And you can see right here, casting is much cleaner on this OG head. I mean, it's not perfect, but no head is. Let's get to checking. Nope. See right here? Here's the 1.5. It's too big for the 1.5. And I rechecked the 1.55. It's too small for the 1.55, so it's something in between. Do they make a 1.525 valve? I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can see right over here, here's the 202 and the 1.55 checked on the, all the new heads. So, I don't know. I mean, it was worth checking. Now we know. It's nothing. It's no valve. It needs to be machined, definitely. They do make 1.525 valves. They're even Ferrara brand, but look at the cost. I probably have the 1.6 valves that I already have cut down, since I have 2 extra sets now, or I'd have the seats and the heads machined to the correct size of 1.6 before I buy an expensive set of 8 valves. So it's actually not a bad idea. I may have 1 valve cut down just to see if I'm right. I don't know. Let me know what you think of that idea in the comments. Well, things have dragged out quite a bit. First we had a deal, then we didn't have a deal, then we kind of had a deal, then they may have tried to trick me and maybe close the case too soon, and eBay stepped in, reopened the case, and then I was going to send everything back. Now I may be sending only 2 heads back, and still we have a deal. I don't know. We'll see. All I know is I want to send these 2 heads out tonight, and before I do that, if you remember, one of the heads, I've already boxed one of them up. There's only 3 heads right here, but as I was boxing up, I remembered one of the heads is damaged, a little bit right here. One of the, the 5.5 heads. The other one has those 2 bad spark plugs, and I think I may try and fix those 2 bad spark plugs because the deck is better on, I think it's, this head. So I'm gonna try and do that real quick before I box up one more head. Okay, I got both cylinders to thread in all the way. You can see for yourself right there. Both threaded in all the way. Now, I just used a spark plug chaser tool, and I just threaded it in by hand. This one, went, just a little bit. Worked it back and forth, and took it out, cleaned it off, blew the hole out, plug went right in. This one I had to go through back in a couple times. I was a little worried at first because the changer tool kind of hits on this bar, so it didn't quite go far enough. So I mean, I might have to grind this down in the future, but as you can see, it did enough to get them in. Whatever thread was messed up wasn't all the way in. It was part of the way or something weird. And I used a little bit of tool oil just to make it a little bit easier. Last time I had to fix some threads, the tool got stuck pretty good and I had to work it back and forth, quite a bit to get it free without actually damaging the threads. So I'll keep this head. It's got the better deck. I'll send the damaged one back. Like I said, I already boxed the other one up, so 2 heads are going back. Pay no attention to all this stuff over here. This is going to be another video. I got kind of a little sidetracked while I was waiting, and you'll see about that soon. Before I wrap this video up, I figure let's double check the 3.0 set. I was just looking at the clips, and I want to say that the contact patch with the 1.6 valve did not look ideal. So I dug one of the 3.0 heads out right here. If you've seen the video, you'll notice that this one is the damaged head. I still haven't fixed it. Right here's where it was smashed in shipping. See there, it's still cracked. It's an easy fix. I'll fix it later on. And over here I got one of the Ferrea 155 valves. So let me set this head up here real quick. Get it on my stand. And we'll go ahead and check these seats with the 155. Here, grab this, because I can't be positive. We may not have a check, we may have a X for all I know. Oh boy, I did not just mark the intake valve with a question mark. Of course I meant to mark the exhaust. Well, let's get to checking. Yeah, it does look like the 155 valve works better, or checks better, on the 3.0 head. You can see it there, it's a nice wide pattern. Almost the same as the 155 on the other sets of heads. Pretty dang close. Just a minor difference. Here, side by side. And I rechecked the 1.6 valve, and you can see right here, it is high. It does look better than the other two sets, the 4.0 and 5.0 set looked. So it would seal, but that's not ideal. The much wider seat is better for dissipating the heat on the exhaust side. I mean, on the intake you can get away. Some people prefer a narrower seat, but for the exhaust, this is more ideal. So I guess that was my bad on calling the 3.0 good too soon. I mean, basically now all the Vortec port single bolt intake pattern cylinder heads I have, the exhaust seats are incorrectly machined. Oh well, at least I know before I actually use them. I want to do one more check before we wrap things up, and honestly I wasn't expecting to do this because these valves I ordered quite a while ago and they were pretty back ordered, so I wasn't really expecting them probably for another 2 or 3 months. But they're here now, they just showed up, so we might as well do it because these are Melling, I guess, stock replacement Ford valves. Right there's the part number, you can see V1237. And like I said, they're just a stock replacement, nothing fancy, nothing special valve. Same length as the Ferrea, but these are not 155, they are 154. So just a tad smaller. And I bought only 2 of them. I mean, they're a tad cheaper, they're like $8.99 a piece, but 10 of them, sorry, not 10 of them, 8 of them is not a whole lot cheaper than the Ferrea valves. And I'd rather pay the extra to get the good quality stainless valves, not these softer, just regular steel valves. Stock replacement. Anyways, the reason I bought these 2 valves is because I'm going to use one for a checker for future heads, because I have to use all 8 of the Ferrea valves in a set of heads. And I'm going to use the other one for when I port the head out. grind back like I normally do, so I get a little closer around here to blend things in and clean it up. So let's check this valve here real quick. Wow, that .01 made more of a difference than I thought. Check that out. I would expect it to be pretty dang close to the Ferrea valve. Here's one right there. Yeah, I did not expect that. .01. Let me check one more real quick. Okay, I just checked another cylinder with the 154 and pretty much the same. You see it there compared to the 155 Ferrea valve. I mean, it's good enough, I guess. I still would prefer the 155 over the 154. Of course, here's the 1.6 and the 1.5. I would not recommend either of those, really. So, I mean, this stock valve does have like a bit of a lip on top that can be, ground down if you want to make it, better or whatever. I mean, it's kind of hard to see on camera. I guess you kind of see it there. So, maybe just, deceiving, make it look, shift it a little more, because honestly, 100 thousandths is not a huge difference. And they both have still nice, wide, good contact. And you can see a little bit of black right there on the bottom. So, I mean, you're getting, I think about the same contact pattern. Those would work. But of course, just a little more, you get the Ferrea, a much better valve than a stock replacement. Stainless steel, it's harder. It's just a better way to spend your money. Anyways, that's it for the valves. We're done with the valves for now. I'm gonna go check my notes because this video has dragged out longer than I expected. I need to figure out exactly how I want to wrap things up. So stay tuned. For this last shot, I'm testing on a new camera. Sorry about being orange earlier, but I was trying a different mode and I forgot it was on. And I mean, I don't think it looked horrible. It was a little off. Kind of Simpson-ish vibe, I guess, maybe. Well, they're yellow, but you get the idea. Anyways, there's a few more things I want to point out before we wrap up this video. One of the things is I just bought another set of the 155 Ferrea valves for the 3.0 heads. I figure I'm going to spend just about as much machine to fix those heads, and I'd rather avoid the machine shop right now, and my local machine shop that I was going to use shut down, so this is the better option for me for now. But because I'm using a different valve with a different lock height, so I would need to use a different spring for the exhaust valve. I already planned on using a different valve for the exhaust, but now I'm going to have to use another. Anyways, I'll go over the parts for the eBay heads in the future, all the parts I'm going to use when I get to that point. Also, I want to point out, because of using a 155 exhaust valve with the same valve seats, that's going to bump up the throat percentage just a couple percent, going from about 85 to 87-ish percent. That's still not super big. I mean, some people like them around 90, 91. I prefer 87-ish for the street stuff. That's just my opinion. Also, in my opinion, when you have a smaller valve, I think they like larger throat ratio for those smaller valves. But again, just my opinion. The last point I want to make is, when I decided to try these valves out, see if they work, I messaged a few people about the potential flow loss. And one of the responses I got had an interesting point. Charles Savato pointed out that because I'm using a smaller valve, that the chamber would shroud it less. So that's kind of gonna, help out some there, but less. I'm gonna have to do less work when I, massage the chamber. I'll be removing less material. And he also didn't think that the flow would be hurt much. I mean, it should be minimal, and I mean, with larger throw percentages that wasn't going to increase in the first place, it may kind of, wash out. I think it'll be good. I mean, it'll be interesting to try it out, and I feel confident that I bought another set of valves for the other set of heads. Anyways, I don't want to ramble on too much longer. This video has already ended up longer than I planned. So I'm gonna link Charles Survival's channel in the description. He's one of the people I've messaged in the past because he has the flow bench. He knows things. He's worked with David Advisor on some things, and I respect his opinion. But thanks for watching. Keep it real. Oh, and let me know what you think in the comments. What do you think about these 4 valves? Is it a good idea? Bad idea? Let me know. They appear to be for, Ford 351 Windsor or GT40. They don't appear. They say that right there.